So that's all I know.
And you heard gunshots?
Yeah, nope.
Just the screaming?
Yeah, just the screaming. That was it.
Your first name, ma'am?
Liliani.
We're back, and yes, it's been 10 minutes, but we're back because we're getting details now out of Salt Lake City and what's actually happened. So let's listen in. I won't chat away just now, and we'll see what's going on. But it's 2 dead, 8 injured at a funeral home, LDS Mormon funeral home in Minnesota. And it was a local person. I don't even know if they were Mormon, but it was a viewing, and then his funeral was going to be in California, but it was a viewing tonight, and there was a mass shooting at it. Salt Lake City, Utah.
Gosh, I have no idea. It's pretty scary. This is my first time thing that ever happened that I've seen. It's pretty scary. I'm still stunned.
I see you composed. How do you keep that composure when something like this happens?
You know what? I don't know. I'm just relieved that I come out safe. I don't want my kids to worry because I know they're watching the news and everything. So I want them to know that I'm safe and I'm gonna be walking home and hopefully nobody's no, just kidding. but that's all I can tell you.
There was a young woman here who looked like she was trying to find somebody who was missing, who might have been shot.
Oh.
When I tell you.
Right now, back out live here, 660 North Redwood Road in Salt Lake City, where 8 victims total, 2 deceased from a shooting that took place in the rear of this chapel. And earlier tonight, there was a viewing taking place for a member of the community. You just heard one of the women who was inside as a part of this viewing explain who they were attending the event for tonight, and also what was going to happen next for that individual private ceremony to be taking place a couple of states away in California. Again, more families still coming out of the chapel here tonight. You're seeing entire families with young children exiting the building right now. Police have this scene relatively secure on all sides. They've had a major focus with the drone in the sky looking towards the rear of the building, where there's got to be an entire separate investigation, if you will, taking place right now. We are in the front of the building, standing in the middle of Redwood Road, along with maybe 75 to 100 law enforcement vehicles. It has thinned out just a little bit since I first got here more than an hour ago now. But we're seeing people exit the chapel after gunshots rang out. I actually just shared, if you're interested in hearing a little bit more about what this was like, I had a surveillance video just shared with me. I just posted it on my Facebook page, and you can hear at least 3 or 4 of the gunshots that rang out. And that was surveillance video obtained from the apartment complex next door. I did speak to one of the people that handed me that video. We did an interview, and she told me they were inside. They could hear the gunshots. They could hear some screaming. And then they went back and corroborated that with their surveillance video, which you'll hear at least 3 or 4 gunshots. That timestamp on the video before 8 o'clock, which also lines up with the timing basically when I was a few streets away at this point. So we're still gathering information. We do have a good amount of preliminary information that we're able to share with you because of the early prelim information from Salt Lake City Police. But again, still combing through this, a massive crime scene. There is a dog that is coming out right now with some family members. And more people continuing to pile out of this building here at 660 North Redwood Road. Traffic is blocked, by the way, for those information from Salt Lake City Police. In this area, but again, 700 North, you cannot get through 700 North to 500 North, and vice versa here, as the entire road is closed down. We're continuing to gather more perspectives here on scene. A lot of people still continuing to exit the chapel, and we'll be here with more updates as we're able to get them and more perspectives. Brian Schnee, KUTV2 News. We'll send things back inside to you too.
All right, Brian Schnee, thank you so much. And for those of you who are joining us right now on KMYU, we are simulcasting with KUTV, and just to bring you up to speed right now, we understand that 8 people have been shot, and this was during a funeral viewing that took place at a chapel which belongs to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, located at 660 North Redwood Road. We're giving you a map right now to give you an idea of where this is located. Police are saying that they are looking for a gunman or multiple people involved with this particular shooting. They're saying that this shooting took place outside in the parking lot. We have been getting reports from those who are on the ground, those who may have heard some screams and seeing the police activity. They're telling us that they believe that the shooting may have taken place in the back parking lot of the chapel. We're still working more information, getting more information about that as we speak right now. We're going to turn our attention now to Brian Will, who is also on the scene, who is a part of multiple crews that we have sent out to this area to get more information for us. Brian.
Jamie, we're more towards that back parking lot that you were talking about. We got a little closer than where we were before, and you can kind of see behind me families and people are still filtering out of this church, and you can see what that back parking lot looks like. And I've been talking to people here in the back parking lot, and it's just you hear crying, you hear people reacting to this tragic news and what happened here on this scene. Some people even are neighbors that can't get to their home because things are blocked off here as well. This is a little bit closer of a perspective here, which we know the victims, the shooting happened back there in that parking lot. We've seen some of the crime scene and some people back there working this scene, a lot of law enforcement, and just a lot of people that just left the church and are just reeling with what just happened back here. So, you know, this is a big scene. There's a lot of things going into this. We're hearing that police drone behind us. Randy's showing you kind of what this looks like from this perspective on the back side of the church with families that have walked out just now. We're hearing that more and more people are being released from the church as time goes on back here, and this is what that scene looks like as we're getting a little closer. We're going to work to talk to a few more people and find out a little more information on this side. This is that north side around 700 North and Redwood Road, the back side of that church. We'll send it back to you guys.
All right. Thank you very much. And one thing that seems like it could be a good thing is that it doesn't seem like anybody in the church was hurt tonight. Now, we do have the 8 victims, 2 dead, 3 critical, 3 unknown because some of them were taken in private vehicles to the hospital. But again, if you're just joining us on KMYU, this all transpired just before 8 o'clock tonight. And the calls came in of shots being fired in the area, and it appears that it occurred in the back parking lot of the church. There was a funeral going on there at the time, but it looks like everybody in the church is okay because most of them, it looks like they've been let out and are going back to their cars or trying to walk to their homes because it doesn't appear that anybody in the church was shot. But
I'll just briefly interrupt. What he's saying is no one in the church was shot, but it was the back parking lot of the church when it happened. There was a body viewing there for someone that doesn't even seem to be Mormon, but it's the church they were using until he was moved to California. But the suspects are still at large. This is a webcam they've put up. You can see the amount of police that are still there live right now. But I'll let them speak. Just interrupt for a second. Please leave a like, subscribe, etc. And let me know where you're watching from.
Extending to the Jordan River. So we have more people who are on the scene right now. We're going to turn our attention to the latest reporter arriving, and I believe it was Natalie.
no, we're going to replay the.
Okay, we're going to go to an interview that Brian Schnee had, and we're going to go ahead and go to that right now.
What did you see? What did you hear? Can you take me through what you saw and heard?
You know what? I was just inside with the viewing, and I just heard noises outside, like girls were screaming and running outside in the back of the building. That's all. That's all I can hear.
So whatever took place here, are you saying it took place outside in the back? Is that what you've
Yeah, I think it was out. I think it was outside because we were just inside with the viewing, the funeral.
Okay. Were there a lot of people here for tonight's event?
Yes.
And who was tonight's event for?
It's for a guy named Asi Sekona. Passed away, but he's a member of our ward here, and he's just viewing here and going to be taken to California tomorrow. That's for burial.
You heard what happened outside. Did you see anything else?
No.
What else took place here? Because there's a pretty big police response for whatever took place here today.
I have no idea what was going on. While we were sitting there, it was just shooting. Everybody was just saying they're shooting outside, but gosh, I was scared. So that's all I know.
And you heard gunshots?
Yeah, nope.
Just the screaming?
Yeah, just the screaming. That was it.
Your first name, ma'am?
Liliani.
Can you spell it for me real quick?
Liliani.
Daniel, any questions?
Liliani, I saw children in there. I saw lots of different people. What did you do when you were in the building? Did they move the children? What did they do?
They just wanted the children to come inside. Yeah, and not, not outside. They just have everybody bring their kids inside and let them stay inside with us.
Are you relieved that none of this commotion got inside in
I'm
a way?
so relieved. I want to go home to my kids and my grandkids.
What do you tell them about what happened tonight? How do you talk to them about this?
Gosh, I have no idea. It's pretty scary. It's this is my first time thing that ever happened in that I've seen with, it's pretty scary. I'm still stunned.
I see you composed. How do you keep that composure when something like this happens?
You know what? I don't know. I'm just relieved that I come out safe. I don't want my kids to worry because I know they're watching the news and everything. So I want them to know that I'm safe and I'm gonna be walking home and hopefully nobody's over. No, just kidding. but that's all I can tell you.
There was a young woman here who looked like she was trying to find somebody who was missing, who might have been shot.
Oh.
When I tell you that, how does it make your heart feel?
So sad because when I heard the gunshot, my heart ached. Could have been one of my kids. But it's just, I don't know. I'm very scared that I'm gonna have to walk home and leave my car here. I didn't know it was that big until I got here and see all these cars. Pretty scary.
Thank you. I'm glad you're safe.
Gosh, thank you.
Look at all these cars.
The interview that Brian Schnee was able to get, that was a woman who was inside the church at the time that the shooting broke out outside. She said she didn't hear the gunshots, but she heard people screaming out in the parking lot. We also didn't talk a whole lot about the suspect or suspects who are still on the run tonight. Police said they did get some pretty good leads on the car, and they have tips and other leads that have been coming in of people that may have known the suspects. So one of their big things now is to try to find whoever was responsible for this tonight, and they do have a lot of officers out getting information and looking. So, but we just want to make sure you know that the shooter has not been caught yet tonight.
And they also say that there are some people who may not be able to get access to their homes because of the police presence and the perimeter that they have set up for the investigation. And this area stretches from 500 North to 700 North Redwood Road, extending to the Jordan River. One of the big questions here is with this fight that broke outside of a chapel, it was outside of a chapel of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. There was a funeral, a viewing that was going on inside of the chapel at the time. It's not clear if this was gang related or if there may have been people that may have been coming for this viewing and somehow got into a fight with some folks outside of the chapel. That's still unclear at this time. It's not clear if there are one or multiple suspects in this particular shooting, but we do know that there are multiple victims in the shooting taken to the hospital. Police have not confirmed if there are more people that are potentially shooting victims, simply because some of the victims were taken by private vehicles to the hospitals. They're working to get that information. We have multiple crews that are on the scene right now, also gathering information as far as what they heard, what did they see, how do they feel. All of that we are gathering. Also, we have retired police officer Chris Bertram, who is also joining us by Zoom right now. We're going to go ahead and turn our attention to him to get his perspective on this particular scene, what it takes for officers to gather information of this magnitude in order to figure out who's responsible for this and how to move forward. Chris, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Thank you for joining us. What are your thoughts looking at this, getting the information? What are officers doing at this point?
You know, again, Salt Lake City has a lot of resources that they can pour at this. Because it's occurring at a church, I think it's going to bring out a lot of their, all hands on deck situation. And I think that when they find who is involved and maybe some of the motive that may be behind it, they're going to be able to tap into a lot of databases and information, their intelligence, to track down who is responsible for this.
Yeah, Chris, that's what's going on right now. Of course, the search for a suspect or suspects. And we also don't know if this was in any way related to the church. Nobody inside the church was hurt. We don't know if there were people outside the church that may have been a part of it or got caught in some of this gunfire. You've been in law enforcement a long time, and I've known you for a long time. These are tough.
Mark, I lost you for a second.
Oh, I was just going to say, you've been in law enforcement a long time, and these are tough things that happen when it happens like this. I remember Trolley Square, and when I saw the big police presence out there, I was hoping that it wasn't something like that. But still, 8 victims, 2 dead, 3 critical, 3 unknown.
Right. And, and that's, I mean, my heart goes out to the families of those people. This is a funeral, and, it's supposed to be, a sacred time. We're honoring somebody. Not only that, it's at a church. And we always look at those places being somewhere that is sacred to us. So I think culturally, this is going to have a great impact on us. And I think that law enforcement recognizes that, and they're going to get out there and do their job tonight.
Chris, how do officers determine the perimeter that they set up when they are investigating?
Initially, you're going to take that scene where you've got, the victims. We're going to expand that out as information comes in. We want to make sure that, again, and I say this often, we get a first time first. And so make it as big as you need to. Sometimes you will establish it, and then we find out that the subjects maybe ran out into the neighborhood, and that will either expand it or create additional crime scenes. But they need to take care of that tonight. That's the first time first, and we want to catch everything that's potentially of evidential value to help in this case.
Hey, Chris, I was thinking about the drone that the Salt Lake City Police has flying over the crime scene. With the new technology and the better drone technology, we see a lot more drones at crime scenes, at crashes. It gives you a better look at what's going on down on the streets, right?
Absolutely. I mean, one of the things that when you look at a crime scene, we're looking at from, maybe standing on the ground. We want to get down low. We want to get up high. Years ago, we'd use sometimes the helicopter or get fire apparatus out there so we could photograph it. Drones have made that so much easier. You can move around the area. We can expand out in the area. The camera systems on the drones are incredible. And so it gives you, again, one significant tool in crime scene and management that we didn't have years ago. We had to do it literally manually, climb up on a ladder and take pictures. This gives us the ability not only look at that scene, but to expand it out to what may be important at the crime scene and document it and make sure we don't miss it.
And can you talk a little bit about a timeline for gathering information? To me, and maybe to others who are watching this evening, they would think, oh, they might be out all night with this. What are your thoughts?
Absolutely. Nobody will be going home until they've got the subjects that are wanted in this or maybe connected to this in custody. There were many times, 24, 36 hours before, we took a break and went home. And as you start, especially from a command perspective, you start to think about that, meaning I'm going to send people home early because they're going to come out in the morning and take the place. And so it becomes one of those situations where we want to get the people in custody as quickly as possible. They're moving, we're moving. They're probably in a little chaotic scene where they're trying to get away. We want to take advantage of that. And when you can pour the proper resources into that, Salt Lake City has that ability. They can ask help of the Unified Police and the sheriffs in West Valley, state police. They're probably drawing on all those tools. The state has the intelligence center. That will be able to provide them a lot of information if they have subjects that they're looking at and associates to those subjects.
Hey, Chris, we talk about technology. Our Brian Schnee was able to listen to a Ring doorbell, the sound from it, and he heard at least 4 shots. And I'm sure police are canvassing the neighborhood. There was an apartment complex just across the street, and they're probably looking for any bit of information because they did say tonight that this person that would do something like this is a dangerous individual. And they also said, we want to get him off the streets, he or she, whoever perpetrated this, get him off the streets as quickly as possible. But with Ring doorbells and everybody's got a cell phone these days, there's probably a lot of information that police don't know about yet, but they might find out about it tomorrow.
Right. And, several things. One, detectives are going to be out knocking on doors, finding out who has cameras. They're going to expand that area out to where maybe the subject fled so they can get cameras of that. But social media, and again, the State Intelligence Center becomes maybe a source for that, along with just local Instagram, channels that people have. And we in law enforcement, I know back when I retired and now, especially now as a private investigator, we glean so much information off of social media. There's been several cases I've been involved in as a private investigator where video was available on, some of the social media platforms before the police actually got their hands on it. And that becomes very useful. Police will take advantage of that and leverage that to again, add to their police investigation.
And Chris, even though we may not have much information as far as the identity of the suspects or even the vehicles, it's not the end of the world for officers when it comes to tracking down this information. Is that right?
No, and even if, and again, we've got a lot of people that are involved in this. Establishing why this happened, what the motive is, will most likely lead to, individuals being identified. If in fact this is a true victim crime, we have no idea who this is. We've seen this across the country where there really isn't a motive that sticks out. This is a, random act with a, true victim. There's no connection. There are so many things that law enforcement can do. And again, they can reach out. Salt Lake City has a good, relationship with the FBI. They're going to reach out to their federal partners, ask for help, and they're going to bring in another set of tools that can help in this investigation significantly.
All right, Chris Bertram, longtime law enforcement officer here in our communities and also private investigator and consultant. Thanks a lot for taking some time to talk to us tonight. We really appreciate your insights.
Thank you.
And we're going to go back out to the field where I believe Brian Schnee has more information for us that he wants to share with us. Brian, what is the very latest from where you are?
My phone is ringing with other people trying to get me, and I'm trying to get...
That was Chris. I know he hadn't hung up yet on the Zoom, but we got you, Brian. Go ahead. I think you heard. Did you hear Jamie's question?
Okay, just making sure you weren't taking a couple extra seconds with Chris Bertram. We're on the opposite side of the chapel now, more towards the 700 North side. The apartments I referenced, if you've been with us for a while from some of our coverage, there's an apartment complex kind of on this side here, the opposite side of the building where I'm at. When I got here just around 8 o'clock, a couple approached me and shared some surveillance video with me that you can hear multiple gunshots in. And we also spoke at length about what they were hearing. They were inside, they were able to hear some things that took place. If you have that video, I'm hoping that we can at least pull it up for you, and I'll stop talking so you can hear, and then we'll hear from that woman that spoke to me about that video in which she shared. So again, you hear the multiple shots, about 3 early on and then the 2 towards the tail end. Do we have that interview with the woman by chance? If so, I would like to take it because it matches up with this video. Take a listen. The video was shared to me by this woman who was inside of her apartment at the time, and she describes what she heard and then later what she saw. What did you see? What did you hear? Can you take me through what you saw in her?
You know what? I was just inside with the viewing, and I just heard noises outside, like.
So I'll let her carry on in a second. Hi Eli, good to see you again. Anyone else, please feel free to tell us in the chat what you think, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Tell us what you think. We will talk about anything that you think here at all. Doesn't matter what your opinion is. This isn't a skewed one way or the other sort of channel. Safe space for any opinions. As much as I hate that phrase, safe space, I like making fun of it. Anyway, Eli, what's happened is 2 dead, 8 injured, 3 of them critical condition. An argument, a fight broke out in the parking lot behind this LDS church in Salt Lake City, Utah. And then what's happened is it was a viewing for someone who'd passed away, a local resident. I don't think they were actually Mormon. His actual funeral was going to take place in California, but it looks like it's possibly between the mourners. A fight's broke out, or they've been attacked, or something like that. We don't know all the details. What we do know is the shooter or shooters are still at large, and the police are looking for them. A lot of cops out there. I'll let her, we've seen her interview already, but let her interview play out, and in the meantime I'll show you the webcam that we started off with.
ILIANI.
Daniel, any questions?
Oh, that's an above shot now.
Children in there. I saw lots of different.
So let's go to this one then, hear this out.
Everything that's been talked about here, I've totaled it up to around 15 shots that went off.
So just a lot, and in very quick
15
order.
shots,
It sounds
wow.
like you heard the first couple, and then it was very quick soon after you heard it.
It was like boom, 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 boom. I mean, it was fast. Someone said it was like ricocheting off the metal fence. I mean, and it was. They said it was in the back. I mean, it was wild. So it's scary to hear for sure.
And you guys, you also mentioned that there was a car that you heard maybe leaving very, very quickly soon after those gunshots.
Yeah, so there's a tenant, and they said that they heard the gunshots, and they live just right here at the bottom. And so they said right after the gunshots, they were looking around, and they didn't see, but they heard a car just kind of rev and fly out of here. They said they don't know where it went, they didn't see it, but they definitely heard it right after the shots. I mean, they said it was enough time for them to stop and get in a car and go. So...
very, very quickly. Very difficult night. Thank you guys for taking the time to come back and answer a few more questions. We appreciate it. Deanie, you know, with one thing that is that I will note is that when we come out to these, you know, really difficult scenes, there's a certain I don't know how to describe it, but a certain feeling, you know, and officers could be very tense. They could be very, you know, when it's very active and they're trying to get a control and a real pulse on the situation, you will sense that. Right now, I am starting to feel as though that tension is starting to ease a little bit, and I have to wonder if they're starting to get a better idea of where to look, and of course, you know, this scene here contained, ready to be processed, ready to get some evidence.
All right.
Deanie?
Yeah, Garna, thank you for staying with us. I know you want to get out and work and try to find out more information. So we'll move on over to Debbie Worthen to see if she's got any new information. Thank you, and keep up the good effort to get us information. Debbie, any more on the police report, police information and the investigation at this point? They had been looking for suspects. They didn't specify whether this was gang related, although they indicated in some way that might be a possibility.
Yeah, they did mention that it was targeted, so they don't anticipate that people are in danger, that it was not a random situation, that it was a fight that broke out. I'll step out of the scene so you can get a closer look here. Again, we are at the corner of 700 North and Redwood Road. And I think I said 500 North earlier. That's where we started out initially tonight. So we're 700 North Redwood Road. Media has now been all pushed a little bit farther to the north. We were across the street earlier, just really right where that crime tape is. That's where many of the police officers and law enforcement officers are gathered. They're getting briefed as well. They will come from time to time into that Mountain America Credit Union parking lot, which is where they had our initial media staging area set up. And then they moved us so they can just take care of their business there. We just talked to a woman who was trying to get back into the area, and she said she's been gone. She just ran to the store. She didn't know what happened. Her granddaughter's there, feels frantic. She's safe, but she now is hearing the news that she can't get back to where she lives, at least until police have a better handle on exactly what's going on here. But again, Deanie, we believe, 5 minutes away from another update from Glenn Mills with Salt Lake City Police Department. He will tell us where things stand. As he mentioned about an hour ago, things were still very fluid. This is a big scene. They have drones out. They have people searching and trying to get to the bottom of exactly what happened tonight. At last update, we had 2 people that were confirmed dead, several others in critical condition at the hospital. So I'll send it back to you.
Yeah, Debbie, and while we're waiting, let's just recap a little bit more about what what happened and what we know at this point, because we'll have a chance to hopefully get some clarification and move this forward in just a few minutes. But for those who are just joining in this evening, this was a funeral that was underway. And at the funeral, mourners heard gunfire going on outside. This has been about an hour and a half.
It was a viewing, not a funeral. The actual funeral was going to be in California. I don't know why she's saying that.
Injured. Debbie, tell us the latest on the police investigation, at least as Glenn Mills described it to you. Oh, okay, she's no longer with us. But what they had described it to us is that they were talking to witnesses, that people were giving them tips. They didn't want to give us too much information about whether it was a suspect or multiple suspects, but that they were getting more information about who they might be looking for, and that they were also looking into the fact that this might be gang related. The importance of that is that they did not perceive that there was a remaining public threat or a danger to neighbors and people in this area, that it was a targeted situation. We heard from witnesses who described what sounded like a fight going on in the parking lot of the funeral, and then a car racing away after they heard multiple gunshots in a couple of waves. Let's go back down to Garna Mejia. Garna, we're expecting an update any minute, so if we get that, we'll break off. But in the meantime, describe what else you have learned and what you've gathered talking to these witnesses.
Certainly, Deanie. I did just receive a text message from a family member who has told us, who was here this evening, rushed over after learning that a family member had been shot. And this is what she is saying. She's saying, we're breaking off to split up to find our brothers that are in critical condition. They're trying to figure out which hospital everyone ended up going to. We're hearing from different sources that maybe they ended up at different hospitals. So that's why, they're splitting off. She says to find our brothers that are in critical condition. 2 passed, 1 was family, and then in exclamation points, I'm looking for my brother. She says, as of this point, we're still waiting to find out the status of the other 3, hitting all hospitals until we find them. Just I can't imagine what these families are going through, trying to get an update, a status update on their loved one. We have this family in particular that believes that one of those that were killed, one of the 2 people killed, is a family member. They're describing them as a brother. And so that is what we have here. We did just see another small group trickle out of the meeting house. We do see a few more people in there. And what is happening right now is that slowly in groups, they are being released from the meeting house, from the church. The people that had come to the funeral, the shooting taking place in the back of the church, in the parking lot. But those that were inside during the end of that funeral, were told to shelter in place as police contained this scene. And right now, quite frankly, as they try to understand who caused this, who the shooter was. We're seeing several people, I'm assuming elderly people, but being taken out in wheelchairs, carried down those stairs, and wheeled out through the front of the church.
Yeah, Garna, you
here.
Go ahead.
Yes, I'm listening, Deanie.
Just what you said a second ago, your heart goes out to people at this funeral. They were already there mourning the death of a loved one, and it's hard to imagine the feelings, the emotions that they are feeling now, coming out and knowing that likely someone they know, or perhaps someone that they are related to, has passed tonight. Just such a tragic situation all the way around.
Yeah. That young man that we spoke to at the very beginning, he was just in shock, and I think, in tears, just thinking, here we are for our loved one, and then now, we may have to be here again because, 2 people killed, 3 in critical condition. It what appears to be just a very senseless act of violence. That's what this is. You guys, and I'm just keeping an eye out, Deanie. I think Jason is kind of giving you guys a shot, but I'm just looking at the front of that meeting house and seeing more officers now. So I'm wondering if maybe we've seen the last of, we're getting towards the end of those that are being held inside, those mourners that are being slowly released, trickling out. In the back of the meeting house, a crime scene that is going to be processed. Detectives are going to be looking for bullet casings. We're hearing, some people say it sounded like a lot of fireworks going off, and then quickly realizing these were not fireworks. New Year's is over. These are gunshots. Some saying they sounded like ricocheting against metal, and so we know that whole parking lot area is going to be meticulously processed. Lots of cars back there, and I don't think those cars are not leaving tonight. And I know that several people that live here on this street have not been able to drive into their homes, into their apartments to go home. So, even though we're starting to see things de-escalate, this remains a very active scene.
Hey, Garna, did I hear correctly when you were talking with one of the witnesses? Did they talk about hearing some kind of a fight between people in the back of the parking lot?
Yeah, that is correct. The couple that lives across the way, they're kind of the managers of this whole apartment complex here, and they heard from one of their tenants that someone started screaming, and they heard a lot of screaming, and then they started hearing gunshots, and one person was on their bike, so they quickly looked for cover, and then soon after, a car was, they described it as flying out of the parking lot, just left very, very quickly. And we know that there is a manhunt underway for the suspects in this case.
Okay. Great work out there. We will be checking back with you, but I'm hearing right now we can toss now out to Mike, who is live on the scene. Mike Hedrick, what have you been able to determine out there tonight? The terrible situation and the kind of event that no one wants to have to report on.
No, this is awful. I mean, when you first hear about it, it comes over scanners. You find out a number of people have been shot and killed in this. I mean, your heart sinks, Deanie, right? You hear something like this. And I know Garna's over there. This is just to kind of let you know where I'm at. It's 700 North Redwood Road. I'm at this intersection. This is where they push the media, okay? Originally, when I got in here, maybe about 30 minutes ago, I was able to go about a half a block up there. But since then, like they typically do in situations like this, Garna was talking about, as they're doing the investigation, look at shell casings and all that thing. A lot of times they end up pushing a lot of the media away. They make this area a little bit bigger so they got room to work. So that's what we're seeing right now. All the media has been pushed to this corner at this time. You can see all the flashing lights there. I couldn't put a number on the number of law enforcement officers that are here on scene right now, but there's a lot. And they cover the parking lot, which is at Mountain America Credit Union right there. I originally went into that area and there was no place to park it because it was filled with tons of law enforcement officers there. You're looking at live pictures from Chopper 5 right now, and you can see kind of the scope of this entire scene right now. It's over the church, and obviously this is where everything played out. And Garna did a great job as far as describing what the scene looked right there. I actually can't see it, so you viewers at home right now, you're seeing a lot more than what I can right now. But Garna was able to talk to, as you heard, a number of people there that some of these eyewitness accounts. What we're doing right now is we are waiting on Glenn Mills with the city of Salt Lake. And so he's going to come and give us an update. He talked to people, I want to say talked to media about probably 30 minutes ago. So he's supposed to be here in about 5-10 minutes, give us an update here to see if there's anything new. But again, 2 people killed, 3 other people who have been taken in critical condition, and 3 others they believe have been shot. And as far as the suspected shooter, they believe that the car that he drove went on Redwood Road and just took off north. So there's an active search right now. We're in the thick of it right now, and we're just waiting on word to see where things stand in this investigation right now. With that, Deanie, we'll send it back to you.
Yeah, and Mike, one thing as we're waiting for that update, we've wanted to reassure people all night that they did earlier say they didn't believe the public in general was at risk, even though they don't have the person or people in custody, that they believe this was a targeted situation.
Thank you.
Are you there, Mike? Okay, let's go back to Garna.
I thought it was clear.
Hi, Mike.
And that was that was the situation, that there was not an outstanding danger to people, that neighbors in the area are not under any kind of lockdown situation. They are not able to get into the area because of the police presence and because of the area is cut off, but it's not because of danger. Let's go to Garna now.
Well, and you guys, as Mike was showing you guys from his vantage point, this street, I mean, even if you wanted to drive through here, there's just cops everywhere across Redwood Road. So it is very hard, impossible to get through right now, and understandably so, as they are working this scene. You've got pockets of officers in different areas. You've got the ambulance. There is still an ambulance here, and we are just seeing people trickling out of the meeting house. The last group, I'm thinking we're getting towards the end of this group that has been asked to shelter in place as officers process the scene. What I am being told is that as people are being released and allowed to come out of the meeting house, they are allowed to start heading home. Many of them, if your vehicle is back in that back parking area, that is where the shooting happened. You are not very likely going to be able to get your car out in the next little bit. But they are being released. They are walking north. I'm guessing this is north, you guys. I'm so disoriented. Forgive me. North in that direction. The first group that came out, a group of about 40 to 50, walked in southbound direction. I think now they are being escorted in the northbound direction. And I am going to try to sneak over there and see if I can give you guys a vantage point from that direction in a little bit. But what we are seeing here is they are maintaining this very secured. This is the crime scene. This is where 2 people were shot and killed, 3 in critical condition. The hearse is still behind the meeting house as police process the scene. And it was near that hearse where we believe that this shooting occurred. That is the area that is taped off. That is where we are starting to see markers placed. That is where, signs of trauma can be seen. We believe that those that need medical attention, that need to go to the hospital, have been taken to the hospital. And hearing from family members, that are just heartbroken, saying, we need to find our brothers that are in critical condition. 2 passed, 1 was family. I'm looking for my brother. Just a very difficult and traumatic moment for several members of this community this evening. And Deanie, I'm going to stop talking because I talk a lot, but I'm going to send it back to you, and then I'm going to try to see if I can walk over and get you a little bit more info.
Yeah, no, this is very helpful, and we realize that you're asked to say a lot, and while you're trying to also work and get information. So feel free to go do what you need to do to get us some more information. And as we are waiting for an update from the police department, this is what we know at this point. We've had Chopper 5 out there tonight, and you can see for a stretch of a mile long, police cars lining the street. Out in front of a Latter-day Saint meeting house, there's the scene. This was on 615 North, roughly, and Redwood Road. There was a funeral going on tonight, and as people were inside wrapping up the funeral, they heard gunshots. Police have confirmed 6 people were injured, 8 people total shot, 2 people killed. Police they responded en masse, as you would imagine, and this was a volatile and a fluid situation for quite a while. They at last point said that they are getting a lot of tips so that they can better understand who they are looking for. They didn't give us a lot of information about the suspects. But let's go now to news specialist Debbie Worthen. Debbie, you've moved to the new media staging area. Have they given you any indication of when this update's coming?
I mean, we really thought 9:30. We've now passed that time, so we anticipate any minute. So this is looking to the south. That's what you're seeing. This is 700 North and Redwood Road. So everything is to the south of where we are. And Glenn Mills with Salt Lake City Police is who we are waiting for. And he will give us an update on exactly what's happened. At last check, as you mentioned, Deanie, he was telling us we had those 2 confirmed dead, 3 in critical, 3 in an unknown condition. And but still a lot happening. In fact, we just had a woman cross the street. I said, "Oh, do you live in that area?" She's like, "No, I don't." And they're really just still trying to figure out what's going on in there. So, and that's really what we're seeing. And as Garna is getting these firsthand accounts of what actually unfolded there in that church parking lot, I'm sure that a lot of that information is being relayed over to police as they're trying to piece together exactly what happened in the last couple of hours as they try to actively search for a suspect or suspects in this case, as they're trying to determine who's responsible, conditions of victims, who may be in danger at this point, and what happens next out here. So, Deanie, I'll pass it back over to you. We are about to head back across the street. We're covering this from every angle for you. We have Mike Hedrick here. We have Garna over at near the church. We are just going to get a little bit in a different position so we can make sure that everything is covered and we don't miss anything as this unfolds minute by minute out here on Redwood Road and 700 North. I'll send it back to you.
Yeah, we appreciate that, and we will keep broadcasting this live as you learn more information and as we head into our 10 o'clock newscast. But let's go back down right now to Garna Mejia. Garna, early on in the evening, and this has been going on now for quite a while, you were able to talk to some witnesses. Yes. They helped paint the situation. They helped kind of clarify and add some detail to how this all played out. Share some of that with us.
Deanie, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Do I need to walk back to the camera? You can hear me okay, Deanie? Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'm hoping,
hear you. Get one way.
Jason probably doesn't know where I'm at because I just wandered off, but I am on the north side of the meeting house where we see a large gathering of people.
Please stay over there. Are you with the media?
Yes. Should I go back to my spot? Well, my photog is this way. I'm so sorry, you guys. I'm going to toss it back so I can make sure I'm not going to get myself in trouble.
We're going to let Garna deal with the police location. They've got logistics questions, and it's hard to know on a scene like this because the boundaries change. You get separated from your photographer, you talk to people, and then, so she's dealing with that right now. But you could see from that last helicopter picture, this is an area that's almost a mile, looks like a mile long, several blocks. And earlier, as Garna was out there, she was talking to witnesses. One was someone who had been inside the funeral, mourning the death of a beloved member of the community. And another was from some people who live near the church. They manage some apartment complexes. And we'll let you hear some of their comments.
After this whole situation, even at a funeral, it's just a little bit more sad to see even more gone.
We have a tenant over here that said after all the gunshots happened, they heard a car fly. I mean, just fly so fast down some road. We let the police know as well. Another guy said he was biking all the way down here in this complex, and he turned the corner, heard them fighting, heard the shots go off, and turned the other way and started booking it. And he said it was like ricocheting off metal. He could hear the shots hitting metal. And then later came back and said, I remember I saw a guy come and he was running to like some taco shack or something that's over there in the back. So we're like, okay, is it the trailer that the church owns? Is it another like shack of food over by the McDonald's? Not sure, but he did see somebody run that way. We just heard maybe 4 or 5 gunshots, and we just stopped and looked at each other and we're like, that doesn't sound like fireworks. It doesn't sound like any construction. Like, that's concerning. Pulled up the camera, and then about 3 more got off. Shots got off, and then he opened the door and heard crying, screaming, wailing, and he's like, something's going on over at that church over there. We need to go look. And when we got over, it was just a lot of people crying. There was maybe 3 or 4 cops just along this road here. It was like boom, 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 boom. I mean, it was fast. Someone said it was like ricocheting off the metal fence. I mean, and it was, they said it was in the back. I mean, it was wild.
It's hard to hear some of these comments. And the thing that sticks with you is that this took place at a funeral. And so presumably many people were there already devastated at what had happened. And then to hear them describe the crying and the emotion that happened with more life loss, it's a heavy situation, and it's something that makes you sad for the family and for that community, that it would happen on a night like this. And so this was playing out during a funeral service. And what you're seeing are shots from Chopper 5. This is the area of Redwood Road and about 650 North. Earlier tonight, there was a funeral underway, and people inside the funeral, inside the church building, could hear shots taking place. And what you heard were those witnesses describing all of those shots going off, and it sounds like there were several of them. Police have confirmed there were 8 shot, 2 killed, 6 injured, and some of those critically injured. Let's go back down to Mike Hedrick, who is field anchoring our coverage for us tonight. And Mike, what's the latest out where you are?
Well, Deanie, right now we're still waiting. I'm with all the media right now. We have pretty much every media outlet that is here. We've been pushed to this corner here, 700 North Redwood Road. Probably about half a block away is where the church is, where you've seen Garna and where the shooting took place. And so what we're waiting on right now is Glenn Mills with Salt Lake City. He's supposed to come here and give us an update to kind of see if they found anything out that is new, where things stand in the investigation. It's so early. I don't expect a whole lot of information new to come out, but we'll wait and see. We don't know what he's going to come up with. As far as what you're seeing right now, it's pretty self-explanatory. So many law enforcement agencies are here right now. We got a parking lot across the street that is completely full with cars from Salt Lake City PD, I imagine the county as well, and other police departments. And so it is full. Everyone's sitting here waiting to get information right now, an update here. It's probably been, about 45, 46 minutes here since we got our last update. So again, waiting on the city to tell us maybe something new, but we'll stay out here and we'll see what we can find out for you.
Okay.
Back to you, Deanie.
Okay, great. We will check back with you in a few minutes, but I'm hearing right now that Garna has seen something. Garna, you've seen something on your end. Just again, any development is what we're looking for. So police are still out there and they have someone?
Yeah, Deanie, Jason has, there's a patrol vehicle that you are
they might have
that
caught
he
someone,
zoomed into,
just as
and we
I've said
just saw
that.
someone being walked out from the meeting house. They came from the back parking lot area. They walked him out. They had them in handcuffs. They loaded them into that police vehicle, and that person is in custody and is driving off. Now, we don't know what the reasoning was. We don't know what is going on with that, but what I can tell you is that one person has been brought through the back of the meeting house, loaded into a vehicle in handcuffs, and that vehicle, that police vehicle, is leaving this area, is looking like at least they're moving away from our cameras at this moment. We continue to see people inside the meeting house. Now, we know that has been sort of a protocol, a shelter in place. Those that were attending the funeral were told to shelter in place inside the gym area. I did venture to the north side of this meeting house. Now, we are on the south side of the meeting house on Redwood Road, and I did see a large group of people gathering behind the McDonald's, and those are the people that have been exiting from the meeting house. They are gathering there in that area. Also saw another hearse come in, and we did see a casket being rolled out. So I think they are ready to release everyone that was here for the funeral, allow these people to slowly trickle out. I'm going to ask Jason to pan over. Here is another group of people. This time it's 4 people. They look like young teens or young adults who are walking out of the meeting house, and this is what we have been seeing the majority of this evening, is people allowed to trickle out and to go to a gathering location. Some, I think they're allowed to leave. Some are choosing to stay. Deanie?
All right, Garna, thank you for that update. Yeah, we're just trying to get any kind of information to help us piece together as we wait for an update from police.
I'm just going to switch over to the other news feed just to see if they've got any other updates.
House where this happened, and we want to go back to him with the very latest information he's gathering there. Brian.
Well, Heidi, we've got the preliminary information that you just mentioned, the 2 deceased, and there was a third person that I've been able to confirm through a different source that independently took themselves, we believe, to another hospital that was also in the possibility of being in critical condition. So I believe when we have that update, which is just out of my eye purview across the corner here at 7th North and Redwood, that we'll have a better indication maybe if those numbers, unfortunately, with the lives that were involved in all of this outside of the chapel in the rear of that building has adjusted or changed. But again, not much in terms of fluidity, in terms of things changing here, other than the fact that we're actually seeing more police officers leave. This was a massive response. I was leaving KUTV around 7:45 tonight, and when I was on I-15, I had basically lights and sirens going by me in both directions, and eventually gathered really quickly which LDS chapel this was at, which was 660 North Redwood Road. And when I got here, we had somebody that approached me with that surveillance video, which the timestamp on that video was just about 7:50. I'm not sure if it's off by a few minutes. The first video I took on my phone was about 2 minutes after that, and that was the first ambulance leaving past me further south on Redwood Road by the 201. So as we kind of go through the timing of all of this, that was the first ambulance, and then I saw a second and a third. all 3 leaving the area in code with lights and sirens. So as we learn that preliminary information of the 6 injured and then the 2 deceased, we're waiting to see if some things change here. However, that surveillance video is very telling. I spoke to a couple here that lives in the apartment buildings that is on the opposite side of the chapel from where I'm standing right now. So right now I'm facing 7th North. My back is at 5th North. The apartments are on the opposite side of that chapel and actually have the vantage point of part of the rear of the building. That surveillance video, you hear 3 to 4 early gunshots, not in fast succession. You'll hear it in just a moment, but they do go kind of simultaneously. Then there's a pause, and then there's a few more. So you hear at least 5 or 6 in that surveillance video. If we have that interview, I'd also like to play it for you of the person I spoke to who shared that video with me. Let's first take a listen and then hear from her.
I think that's a really, really good question. That is something that around the
works.
You want to share your first and last real quick?
Yeah, my name is Kenna McIntyre.
Spell it for me, Kenna.
Kenna, last name McIntire.
What did you hear? What did you see tonight here near the chapel?
So we live in the apartments next door, and we were just sitting at home. I was doing the TV because we heard loud like bangs, and we're like, okay, that doesn't sound like fireworks, doesn't sound like any construction or anything. And then it just kept going, and after the 4th or 5th gunshot, my husband pulled up our Ring camera on the front door, and 3 more went off. He opened the door, and we heard wailing and screaming and crying over here. And my husband ran out, and he tried to call 911, but he got put on hold because so many people were calling in. And then he told me that there was gunshots, and we were able to be at least a sound witness and help out anybody else in the apartment that's worried.
Did you see anyone running from the chapel or anything? Or were there people inside that you're aware of?
There were people inside running out, and there were people out there hugging and holding each other and crying. And we were just told from the police officer that 3 people were shot and injured, but so far nobody's dead.
Anything else you want to share from what you heard, or remember what time roughly you heard it?
I don't remember what time. We've probably got it on camera. We've probably been out here maybe like 40-45 minutes or so, is my guess. We just remember hearing a bunch of screaming and crying, and then people were sad. Was it kind of like a disbelief that it was happening, and then you watched it back on the Ring doorbell? And yeah, because at first we're like, it almost sounds like a little bit of construction, but then we just kept thinking like that's not right, and we got really worried once we heard the screaming and crying. So
thanks for talking to me. I'm sorry. So very difficult for that conversation with the woman who actually lived in the apartment building on the opposite side and shared that surveillance video with us. And again, you could hear, can't see much, you could hear the 3 to 4 gunshots early on. And then after a brief pause, you hear another 2. And she shared what she heard initially, which was the 3 victims. Again, this interview that we just shared with you was from about 90 minutes ago. A lot has changed. The information we're expecting to hear from police in a briefing here, maybe in about 10 minutes, could also be very different than what we had in terms of the preliminary information about 45 minutes to an hour ago. But just kind of painting the picture of what happened from there. At that point, I was on the opposite side of the building from where we are right now. Family members were running up saying, hey, my so-and-so is inside. Are they okay? Officers were telling family members, who is your so-and-so? I'm using just kind of a paraphrase. Oh, we took them to X hospital. So at that point, those ambulances that I had witnessed leaving this area had already been transporting a couple of the different victims from the shooting that took place behind the chapel to area hospitals. Now, after that, the additional officers continued to show up as time has gone by. Actually, the amount of officers has thinned out that we saw here. But we also learned the information that there were 8 total victims and then 2 deceased. This was a viewing for a member of the community. There were a lot of families inside. After I had that conversation with the woman who shared the surveillance video, we started to see about 10 to 15 minutes later, people in terms of families, young children, funnel out of that building. which is just over here. Daniel, if you could kind of pan in by these flashing lights. The building, we were pushed back about 30 minutes ago, by the way. Our perspective was a little bit different. We were straight on to the chapel and seeing a little bit more of the work to share with you. But again, there was a steady stream of people coming out. Some were weeping. Some were just kind of in shock. Some of them wanted to speak with us. Some politely declined, some not so politely declined. Very emotional and kind of an uneasy situation because this was meant to be a memorable evening to celebrate a life and mourn together as a community. And instead, as you heard from Lillian, the conversation we've shared with you a number of times tonight, if you've been with us over the course of the last hour and a half, this was for a member of the community. This was for family members to come together. And there were a number of people that were coming out of that building that were just full families, young children, members of our elderly community that were in wheelchairs. So this was something that members of this ward, specifically that Lillian mentioned to me, had come out and meant to celebrate the life of a member of this community, which will...
What's going on with that guy coming out limping, and he's got some sort of apron on? Did you see that? They don't look like your traditional Mormons, if you like, vaping and shit. I mean, nah, this is gang related for certain. Let's flip back over to this one. She's a nightmare though, but let's check her out.
Once from police, and as the evening has gone on, some of your worst fears materialized as...
She's got nothing to say. We'll stick with us. Maybe we'll see some more gangbangers coming out the church.
There's a massive focus on the backside of the chapel. That is where, of course, the situation took place. Photographer also showing a couple people that were in custody. We are going to plan to hear from Salt Lake City Police right now. If they are ready, let's listen in.
Excellent, that's what we need. Let's get an update for the cops.
All right, Brian, we are waiting for the police to start speaking again. We've been waiting for them. We know there's a lot to get in line before sometimes they can share information. It's an evolving and changing scene. Let's go to them right now.
I think we have.
Oh, excellent. Here we go. Let's hear it. Let's hear the police speaking. There's a way that some of these news reporters talk that's hilarious. The cops going to give us an update, and let's see if the perpetrators have been caught yet.
Are any of you going live? We'll probably all be live. Okay, so the mayor's going to make a statement as well. Afterwards, got it. What do I do with all these? Peter, can you talk to me, please? Yes. Okay, first it is the chief, and then the mayor is going to speak as well. Chief and mayor, correct.
Got it. Whatever works. Yeah, it doesn't look good.
As you can see, they are still getting their microphones on from multimedia outlets.
Oh, shut up,
there.
we can
If you're
wait.
Not familiar with them. This
if we miss him, start talking because of her. I swear to God.
Mayor Mendenhall, which shows you the gravity of the situation tonight.
Yeah, we're waiting for them to give us some new
So
information.
the chief then the mayor are going to speak.
In this incident, their families, those impacted by this incident tonight. We just want to continue to provide updates. We'll probably provide one more update after this and keep you informed. Can't tell you right now. We are following all leads. Our officers are working hard, and we will work until we bring these individuals to justice.
This one's better. Audio.
We do have dozens of individuals that were attending the funeral that we are talking with right now to see if they are witnesses, if they saw anything. So we're working through that. We're following up on all leads. And again, we are confident we will bring these individuals to justice.
Chief, did this happen inside from folks who were attending, or did someone come into the situation and insert themselves and open fire?
That is still being investigated, but the gunfire happened outside the church.
Chief, you said shooters. Is that confirmed? It's multiple?
That is not confirmed. We're looking into it.
Okay.
What do you know about as far as last we heard was there was a car you were looking for that went north on Redwood Road? Is that correct?
Yes.
Have you heard anything further as far as traffic?
We're continuing to investigate that. We're pulling video surveillance from the surrounding area to see if we can identify information there. We are getting a lot of leads coming in from the public, and again, we're confident that we will.
You've got license plate readers here on Redwood and on 7th. Is that part of the video surveillance?
Yeah, so we'll be looking into all of those things. Yes.
We saw two gentlemen in handcuffs up the street. Can you tell us if that how that relates?
So through this process, we have detained individuals. I don't know the current status of that
How many
right now.
individuals have you detained?
I don't have that number.
Have the number of victims changed?
Not since I think what Glenn gave you is where we're at right now.
Chief, are your gang investigators here, and do you think this is gang connected somehow?
It's probably too early to say it's gang related, but yes, our gang detectives are here, and we're definitely looking at that angle.
How big is the scene? I mean, we got pushed back a little bit, and I know we got Chopper up there showing some things, but how big of a scene are we looking at here as far as looking at shell casings and all of that?
Yeah, I mean, most of the scene occurred just behind the church there, so that the immediate scene, and then of course we've got some area cordoned off. But the extent of what we've looked at from the initial shooting is right behind the church.
Can you talk about the Valley-wide police response tonight? Can you talk about the Valley-wide police response tonight?
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you to those agencies who did respond and who are still here helping us. I think that's one of the great things about Utah is that when an incident like this occurs, we all come together. Because this was called out as an active shooter, that's what elicited the type of response.
What can the public do to help you at this point?
So we would ask the public to call our non-emergency line if they have any information, 799-3000. Of course, if there's an emergency, then call 911.
Can you tell us anything more about the nature of the altercation that we heard about that occurred before?
I don't have that information right now, but that that will come out as the investigation progresses.
Have you ID'd the vehicle?
I don't believe that we've ID'd the vehicle.
Any suspect descriptions?
No, we're looking into that right now with the video surveillance. As soon as we get a video surveillance,
Was there video inside the church?
I don't know that.
So video from.
We're looking at these surrounding businesses. Yeah, to see anything up this way as well.
It happened at a church. Do we think religion played a part in this at all?
We don't believe this was a targeted attack against against a religion or anything like that. We don't believe at this point that this was random.
How large is the search radius for the suspects? Is it just controlled here, or are you guys searching?
We're going to follow. We're going to search wherever we find leads across this valley.
But again, for the people around. Other people, you don't believe other people are in danger as a result of this?
Well, we can't say that. We just had some people shot, but we don't believe that it was. We don't believe. Let's see, how am I saying? We believe this was not a random
Is there any
incident.
danger to the public with the suspect still at large?
Again, we don't. Again, I'm going to just say it again. We don't believe this was random. So we believe but we can't say. We have people that have shot people that are out in our community, and we're going to keep looking for them until we find them.
But it appears as though whoever opened fire and the folks inside somehow knew one another. These weren't complete strangers. They were at or near the church.
That's what we're investigating.
I'll make brief remarks. Absolutely condolences to the families and the victims. This should never have happened. This should never have happened outside a place of worship. It should not have happened at a celebration of life that was occurring inside of the church tonight. Our condolences continue to grow, and we know that this impacts not only those victims and their families, the community that was at the church, but the entire community here in Salt Lake City and on the west side. I also know that Salt Lake City Police Department, and a great thanks also to our fire department, who have been great partners in collaborating in this incident, are not going to rest until the individuals responsible are brought to justice. Full stop. No matter where they go, we will find them. They will be brought to justice. So we will give you another update before the night ends, and we'll have another moment in the morning to bring any new information or simply tell you that what we know is still what we know. So those are the updates that we have for tonight, and I think we've answered your questions. If there's any more, we don't have any greater information to share with you at this time.
They told us nothing. They told us only what we already know. I'll let them ask some questions here, but that's the reality. They've only told us what we already knew. But they did kind of confirm by not saying it in a certain way that this was an ongoing gang-related attack.
How could this have been prevented, except to know that our police department, our fire department respond extremely quickly. Victims who were on site were taken to hospital immediately, and I'm really proud of our police department, our fire department, and grateful for the other agencies who are assisting. Until we know more about this and the investigation gives us more information, we can't start to make assumptions about what happened here or why it happened.
What I can tell you, our officers will not rest until we bring justice, and we will be here for the community. And in the days to come, we will be here in the area, connecting with the community, working with them, doing what we can to make people feel safe. And I want to thank our officers. I also want to thank the fire department and all of the assisting agencies. And thank you to all of them.
Thanks, everybody.
That has been an update from Salt Lake City Mayor Aaron Mendenhall and Salt Lake City Police Chief Brian Redd. They conveyed their condolences and assured people that they are searching and working hard to find whoever tonight shot and killed 2 people, shot 8 people total, and injured 6 others, 3 of them critically. You heard that they do not know exactly or where they're looking, but that they are working hard to find them. And these are shots from Chopper 5. All night we've been showing you this area of downtown Salt Lake City, Rose Park to be exact, in Redwood Road and about 650 North, where police have blocked off this long stretch of street where these people were killed in back of a meeting house during a funeral. It's been a night of a lot of work for police, a lot of concern, and a lot of emotions, understandably, for people who were there mourning the loss of their loved one and now have maybe other people that they know or other family members who they have lost in this tragic shooting. There you're looking at the stretch of road that is lined with police cars. It's been a massive police presence all night. Our crews have talked to witnesses. We've talked to, you just heard from the police department and from the mayor, saying that they won't rest until they bring others to justice. And right now they are working on using surveillance cameras and what we're told is even license plate readers to try to identify that truck. Mike Hedrick there is at the scene. Mike, you just heard the update. What stood out from you, or what were we able to learn in some of these questions that we've had going forward?
You know, like they said, it's really early on the investigation, and I think right now they are just getting every piece of information that they can at this point. They talked about witnesses, talking to several witnesses. Do we know if it's one shooter or multiple shooters? They weren't willing to say, or they don't know at this point. You mentioned some of the surveillance video that they're looking at. Usually you don't have that typically in buildings for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, at least the meeting houses. So you got a Maverick here in the corner, you got Mountain America there, you got a McDonald's right over my shoulder as well. So these are places that may have surveillance video and cameras. So what they're doing right now, they're going through that, they're going to look at it, and they're going to see what they can determine at that point. But again, as they mentioned, beginning stages right now, and we'll see where things go. But whoever the shooter or shooters are, they're actively searching for them right now, and they're going off of whatever tips they have at this point. They weren't really specific as far as what those were, because I believe some of that is still coming in, again, as they're debriefing some of the witnesses on scene as well. So they did say, if I heard correctly, was they did have a couple of people who they've spoken to possibly in custody, maybe just for informational purposes or possibly related. So again, when it's this new and this fresh, they're sorting through everything right now, Deanie.
Lord Mike, that they were working hard to make sure that they covered all of their bases and made that clear. Let's go now to news specialist Garna Mejia. Garna, you have spent the night talking to witnesses, both people who were inside the funeral and people who were close by, residents just in that area. What has stood with you and stayed with you tonight?
Well, and Deanie, and we continue to monitor the situation here at the Meeting House. I am back in the back of the Meeting House. This parking lot is where the shooting unfolded, and hearing that report that there are, now confirmed 2 people killed, at least 6 more injured, with at least 3 people in critical condition. Witnesses telling us that they heard a barrage of shots, what they thought at first were maybe fireworks, and then they started realizing that those were not fireworks, those were gunshots. They heard a car quickly speed away, and some even describe hearing bullets ricocheting off of cars, off of metal, potentially even the Meeting House. We've seen officers here shine their flashlights, looking what I assume are for bullet casings, for signs of bullet holes. And you have, this whole area just outside as you walk into the back of the Meeting House is taped off. There is that securing that scene. Chopper 5 giving us this bird's eye view of what this scene continues to look like as police start combing through the evidence, start looking for any details, anything that can point them and help them solidify their leads and searching for this suspect. Family members telling me that they are devastated. They did not want to go on camera. They are devastated to hear that at least one of their brothers, they described, has been shot. And you guys, let me toss to some of the people that we have spoken to this evening.
Shots were fired outside of the Meeting House, but you could definitely hear them inside. It was pretty loud, especially when inside all you can hear is just quietness, and then with those loud shots, definitely kind of shook the whole place up.
We just heard maybe 4 or 5 gunshots, and we just stopped and looked at each other and we're like, that doesn't sound like fireworks. It doesn't sound like any construction. Like, that's concerning. Pulled up the camera, and then about 3 more got off, shots got off, and then he opened the door and heard crying, screaming, wailing.
And there you have it from those inside of the church and those living next door. That is what they heard, 3-4 hours ago at this point. Those that were here for the funeral inside also immediately asked to shelter in place, running to the gym area of the church to wait, as police came in, as police started coming into this back area where you just have this just tragic scenario unfolding. We talked about this earlier, Dee Dee, seeing this hearse here, just a very sobering scene here, to think that this was a funeral and now we have, 2 people killed, multiple others injured, up to 6 people, 3 in critical condition. Just a difficult and tragic evening for everyone involved, neighbors, family members who tell us, we came to mourn, to have a moment of peace, and to learn that there are family members that are gone at this time. We have seen, and I want to remind us that we have seen someone brought out from this back area in handcuffs, escorted and loaded into a patrol car. We don't know what the connection is there, but we can tell you that this is what we have witnessed here in the last 30 minutes or so.
All right. Gurna, thank you for that update. Let's go back to Mike. Mike, going forward in situations typically like this, they'll be looking at some of the surveillance cameras in the area, surveillance video from people who might have seen things at the time of the shooting. And they talked a little bit about that at this recent update.
Yeah, they did. And what they said, Deanie, was that they're going to look at some of these businesses here around the corner that are just near the church. So you got a McDonald's there, you got a Maverick across the street here from me, a Mountain America Credit Union. And so any of these businesses that possibly have cameras, and I would imagine definitely when you got a credit union here, they're going to have some cameras. Anytime you got something like that, they're going to pull, right? They're going to pull that video and see if there's anything. I'll also mention this too. You never know in situations like this, especially with the number of vehicles that are out here. This is a busy intersection here at 700 North and Redwood Road. There's a lot of cars that have cameras on them. So if there's anyone, they're pleading for anyone who has information, Salt Lake City Police, let them know about it. And so could cars have cameras that pick something up? Possibly. And so they're asking anyone who could have something to let them know about that. So that was one of the main things. They're still looking. They don't know if it's one shooter, multiple shooters. that's still in the gathering phase right here. So I've been here on scene for about an hour and 15 minutes. Everything was cut off at this point. This intersection was. Debbie Worthing got here really quickly after these calls came in. She's just on the other corner of this intersection for me right now. And Debbie, what are you seeing where you're out? What information have you learned in the course of the time that you've been out here?
Yeah, that's a good question, Mike. And one thing that has stood out to me tonight, because when we first arrived, we were at 500 North and Redwood Road. So that's literally 2 blocks down this road, and this entire thing was shut down. So you're looking at a mass scale as far as an investigation goes. So 2 full blocks of Redwood Road, and I love how you said that, Mike. This is a busy road. This is not a remote area. This is not a place where there aren't going to be cameras. I mean, there are cameras in remote areas of neighborhoods, on houses, Ring cameras. This is not even that kind of situation. This is a street that is busy. It's well traveled. It's well lit for the most part. And we can only assume there are a lot of cameras that at least picked up something here. Now, the crime tape is really exactly where we are, and it continues. We have seen police let a few people through and under the crime tape. Some have said, I live in that area. I would love to get home at this point. And we've also seen people gathering and hugging. We are presuming those are people who were possibly at that church where Garna is, which is just a few hundred feet away from where we are. But again, a massive scene, and as things have been unfolding, it's been very secure. You know, officers get that one chance to make sure it's a clean scene where they capture enough evidence in its raw state as they get it. But you know, another thing is we are only a week into the new year. So Aaron Mendenhall, Mayor Aaron Mendenhall and Chief Red out here tonight just committing to finding those who are responsible. This is not a good way to start the brand new year in Salt Lake City with a mass casualty event. 2 people killed, 3 in critical condition, and 3 others injured in the hospital. So no doubt they are going to really pull out all the stops, as she said, full stop until they track down who is responsible here. But again, we're covering this from every angle. We are at this Maverick. It's one of the bigger, nicer Mavericks. We're assuming they have cameras in this area, and we will just continue to gather information as well from this angle. I'll send it back to you.
Yeah, Debbie, thank you very much. I appreciate the perspective over there. And like you mentioned, Chief of Police and the mayor visibly disturbed by what had happened here this evening. And so it's all hands on deck as they're trying to figure out exactly who or what people have done this. All right, we know that this took place in a building for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And the church, probably about 30 minutes ago, just put out a statement. Let me show that to you. Let me read that to you here. It said, "We are aware of a serious incident that occurred outside a church meeting house at 660 North Redwood Road in Salt Lake City tonight as a memorial service was being held in the chapel. The church is cooperating with law enforcement and is grateful for the efforts of first responders. Until more information is available, all questions about this incident are being directed to the Salt Lake City Police Department. We want to extend prayers for all who have been impacted by this tragedy and express deep concern that any sacred space intended for worship should be subjected to violence of any kind." And I'd mentioned this before. I'm going to mention it again, Deanie. When you hear that last part of the statement there by the church, your mind goes immediately to what happened in Michigan not too long ago with the tragedy that happened there, with the shooting that happened there. And so it just kind of rings that, okay, here's something, again, happening in a place of worship. It should never happen there. In fact, the mayor reiterated that this evening. So again, all hands on deck. You got all police crews here looking for any kind of tips, any kind of information, whether it's from surveillance cameras, whether it's from cameras on cars, whatever it is, they're trying to hunt down and figure out who in the world would do something like this.
Yes, it's such a senseless tragedy at the worst time and in the worst place. Mike, we'll check back with you before the end of the newscast. Thanks for wrapping it up and for getting us such great information. Let's go to our other top story and gratefully a little bit of a happier news tonight, Kevin, of some much needed snow coming into our area.
Yeah, storm system coming in this evening, Deanie, that's going to push snowfall into the area for tomorrow morning's commute. It is still snowing up in our mountains. Solitude Mountain Resort and Big Cottonwood Canyon have seen snowfall for the last several hours. Here's some of the preliminary totals so far. Brighton is up to 6 inches. Solitude's had 5. Alta, Deer Valley at 3 inches. Snowbird's had 3. Powder Mountain's had 3. And Snow Basin is 2 inches. The main front is still several hours away, but it is pushing our way, and it will arrive in the overnight, impacting the morning. Still a little bit of mixed precipitation, some light valley rain, Spanish Fork, snow up into the mountains of the Wasatch, over into the Oakers. We're seeing a little bit of that snow. You can see that heaviest concentration is in the Cottonwoods and up over Parley's at this hour. A little lighter precipitation up through northern Utah, but the next little leading edge already pushing rain over the lake, and a band of snowfall that will be coming in with this cold front looks to arrive about 2 to 3 o'clock. Temperatures have now dropped into the 30s, so we're primed for when that front arrives. It will take any precipitation and flip it to snowfall. So you can see that frontal boundaries just off to the north of us. It will sweep through in the morning and cause problems for the commute. Here's the timing. A little bit of precipitation tonight. As we roll that through, you're going to see that we'll pause it at about 2 a.m. That's when we'll see the front. That's when I think we'll see the initial burst of snow. That will continue through 8, 9 a.m. as the front slides into central Utah. I-15 corridor, snow. Beaver Summit, Scipio Summit, into Cedar City. St. George will have a little rain in the St. George area with snow in the surrounding mountains. Lingering through evening, the front goes into southeastern Utah, keeping that snow going there with some lake effect bands here in the north that will add to some of the totals, especially areas south of the lake. So the Oquirrh Mountains, Tooele Valley, and west side of the Salt Lake Valley. By Thursday night into Friday, it's all gone, and we actually will clear things out. So how much are we talking? Well, now through Thursday, 1 to 3 inches in the northern valleys, 2 to 4 on the benches, 6 to 12 in the mountains, and 1 to 3 for the central valleys, 4 to 8 inches in the central and southern mountains. Look for scattered snowfall tomorrow for Nephi, Manti, Delta to Fillmore. That front will move through early morning and then really continue to progress, producing snowfall across much of the south, with the exception of St. George. Kanab will be a rain-snow mix, but highs only in the 30s across much of southern Utah tomorrow. St. George will have the exception with a high of 45 with that rain. Extra cool Friday, Saturday with highs in the low 40s, and then 40s and 50s return for the first of next week. In the north, a burst of snow overnight, lingering snow for the first half the day tomorrow, decreasing especially for Tremont and Logan by midday and beyond, but the lake effect will keep things going south of the lake through afternoon and even early evening. So a snow morning tomorrow, allow yourself extra time to get out the door. Then hazy conditions will pick up as we head through Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Temperatures get back to the low to mid 40s. KSL 5 News at 10 will continue after the break with more breaking news.
KSL, your home for the Milan Cortina Olympics.
Every day, we go to work.
Director of Operations.
Park Ranger. Utah Food Bank. KSL thanks the people who go to work every day to make the place we all call home work. And we are hard at work for you.
Game Night Live is brought to you by Riverton Chevy, the Chevyweight champion.
Your whole life, you woke up before the sun and worked hard.
Season. That's why we're issuing that first alert weather day. A little bit of road slush definitely possible. And by tomorrow night, there's a chance for a little bit of lake effect snow south and southeast of the Great Salt Lake that we're going to be watching closely. So that first alert might be extended into tomorrow night. Winter weather advisories are out for the entire Wasatch Range, but also some of our valleys of central and northern Utah for your Thursday, including the Salt Lake Valley. There is the cold front's already entering northwestern Utah. Ahead of it, we've had a little bit of valley rain and mountain snow. Snow level sitting about 6,000 feet, but they're going to be coming down to the valley floor by tomorrow morning. You can see that rain beginning to change to snow. That's that colder air pushing through Box Elder County. Right now, the Wasatch Front is dry, but we're starting to see some light returns on radar just north and west of Tremonton. So that cold front continues to stay to our north and to our west at midnight. Some spotty showers in northeastern Utah. Then the cold front hits most of us right around 3 to 4 a.m. That's the latest timing of the cold front. We might have rain and
Sorry, Eli. Yeah, I was busy reading some newspaper reports there about this to see if, there was anything we'd not got or whatever, from this. Eli's asking, did you have a good New Year? Sorry, I don't even know your name. Better call me Backlash, because you don't want any. I'd love to tell you my real name. Don't want to be doxxed and all that these days, I was slagging the Ayatollah the other day. What could be the end result of that? Although, he said Backlash as a nickname does go hard. Yeah, I love it. I'm quite happy with it. At first I wasn't, but once I get used to it, I was like, yeah, do you know what? I'm good with Backlash. I like that. I did have a good New Year, Eli. I had quite a quiet one. I streamed for a little while, actually, and then I went and celebrated. So my own New Year, I didn't ring in the New Year on stream. I rung in the New Year stream of Australia, New Zealand, Beijing, Delhi, even Dubai on the stream, but not as it came further west. I was like, well, that'll do me. I'll go and get drunk like everyone else. Right now, I think we're on to plums as far as this story goes. No, they're back. So let's hear them out again. But they're just going over old ground again, though, sadly, I think. I don't think they've got anything else for us, as far as updates go on this. But what we know is 2 dead, 3 critically injured out of the 6 that have been shot other than the 2 dead. And the suspects have made their getaway. And what kind of disgusting scumbag starts shooting people out the back of in the parking lot of a church? I don't know. Especially at a funeral viewing, it wasn't the actual funeral. The actual funeral is going to be in California for this person, apparently. But yes, Eli, I had a good New Year, mate. Thank you. And you did too, from our previous chat, I know that. Let's see, if you email me, Eli, at backlashstories@gmail.com, and I'll tell you my real name. Once we're allowed members, we'll do a members only and we'll have real names and all of that, but we'll make people pay to get that. How about that? And then at least if they try to kill me afterwards, they had to pay for the privilege. They're talking to that couple again that did the Ring doorbell, the DoorDash camera. DoorDash. I don't think she's telling anything new, but we can have a quick look at what she's saying.
Starting to process the scene. We're starting to see them bring in a lot of the activity. A lot of the police tape is starting to really focus in around the meeting house. For hours, we've seen just this really large police presence, and we're starting to see them move in. I've seen a couple of vehicles trickle into some of the apartment buildings, so I don't know if they're slowly starting to release this area as they focus their investigation here at Ground Zero, where the shooting happened. From family members, we're hearing that they are concerned. They're wanting to track down those family members that may be in critical condition, wanting an update on those that have confirmed been killed, and wanting to know where to go, where to gather. Just north of me, just on the other side of this fence, and I would show you guys there, but we want to just respect this scene. We are not able to cross to that side, but just north of here, those that are trickling out of the meeting house from the funeral, those people are gathering, many of them, in another.
So no new updates there. What I will say, I'll give you a backlash. I'll give you another as normal, sober, don't care if it's unpopular opinion on the thing. Cold light of day opinion on the thing. But even if it is night time. But gang violence. And this seems to be that. Gang violence gets excused because of, it's their lives, it's their this, it's that. Bullshit. No, it's not. You're excusing it and you're glamorising it all the time, when in reality, you should be ridiculing the people that are ruining communities and ruining lives and murdering people through whether it's selling drugs or shooting people and then saying, oh, it's the only opportunity we have. No, it's not. That's not true. That's not true even slightly. Go and have a normal life. If you were brave and you were a real man, you would suck it up and go and work at McDonald's and put yourself through school and get your life together. The easy option is shooting at people, is selling drugs. It's ridiculous. And anyone that's acting like, oh, it's not their fault, it's the, nah, shut up. Yeah, it is. People are responsible for themselves. It is their fault. It's entirely their fault. And if you want even more people to blame, politicians that come up with rules that police can't do anything. Police have had to literally down tools and walk out of some communities because they're not allowed to police them anymore. It is absolutely shocking. It's even more shocking that this ended up happening in Salt Lake City in Utah, which is not one of those places that just, down tools and let people do whatever they want, but that's how these things spread. This is newsworthy because it's happened here. If this happened in the parking lot of a church in Chicago, it wouldn't even make the news in Chicago in any serious way like this, because for various reasons they don't want to make the community look bad. They don't want to give people like Trump, as they would say, a platform to show how bad Chicago is or whatever. But Chicago's a nightmare. But these kind of things happen there every weekend, especially at the weekend. During the week, they seem to be not that keen on shooting each other because, they're not hard-working types. But at the weekend, once they've, they've got into their cups and that, yeah, they'll go on a shooting rampage, kill a load of people. No problem. It's not good enough. That's my take on it. Wow, Chelsea Handler's on... Fallon's show. Man, he's got enough problems without having that hood on. Anyway, that's devastating. Actually, there's people really upset here, as you can see.
Just about 8:30 or so, there was just a stream of viewing goers, if you will, or funeral goers that came out of the chapel. And we've learned, obviously, since with multiple updates from law enforcement that a lot of the, if not all of the victims, we heard the number was 8 with 2 deceased, all of the victims appearing to be adult age. But what was really kind of startling to me, especially as a father of a young child, is seeing all of the children and their families and the elderly members of this community funnel out from that viewing. And these were families that were in there that were going through this situation. So as we learn more information, we'll be sure to
as he's saying, as we learn more information. So there's not more information just now. I don't want to be a vampire about it and cling in there, and if I had more to say, I would say it. We had a bigger crowd tonight. I'd hang in and we could chat away about it. But Eli, it was fantastic to see you. I've streamed between this and the last one for over 3 hours already, so I think that's plenty. But if there's any more updates on this, I will jump on. We will get right in there again. But I'm back to daily streaming, so it's good to see you again, Eli, and I hope to see you again soon, my friend. I know everybody's busy and has a life, but genuinely a pleasure to see you. I've missed seeing you about. Let me just put an email address in here. This is the email address for the channel. I hope I'm getting it right. I should really just get a link together. As you know, the channel's still growing and still becoming a thing. But that's the email to email the channel. Any sort of questions there, and as a moderator for the channel, Eli, you're entitled to background information. But everyone else, I'll see you again soon. Thank you so much for tuning in. They've ended their streams just now because I was about to, because they don't have any other information either. What I will leave you with is the main streets, the famous streets of Kensington. Kensington Avenue, Philadelphia. It's just a grim show down there. But some of the key characters are there. That guy that sits there with his table with all his blankets around it, he's got like a throne there, and other hobos come and congregate around him. I wonder if that's for protection or to buy drugs. Don't know. Thanks again for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, share the channel, and I'll see you again soon. Any other questions you want to ask, please jump on the community page and chat away. You can say anything you like on there. I will not mind. I believe in people being able to express themselves. Stay classy.